welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova.
I'm Chrisley Kennedy.
I'm John Campia.
I'm Dennis Zen.
And I'm John Schnepp.
And this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus insight into what it all means. Let's get into our first topic. Bryan Singer, director of the first two X-Men movies and the upcoming X-Men Days of Future Past, tweeted this message yesterday. #XMen, #Apocalypse 2016. For those of you who don't know, Apocalypse is one of the most popular and powerful villains in the X-Men universe and first appeared in 1986 in X-Factor #6. With this tweet, comic book fans are now buzzing about a possible Age of Apocalypse movie. John, what do you think of Apocalypse being the central villain for the X-Men movie following Days of Future Past?
I'm so excited. To quote Lonely Island, I jizzed in my pants. This is for anybody who's been watching or listening to me for any period of time. I have constantly said, I mean, the one-shot, my favorite one-shot graphic novel story is always going to be The Dark Knight Returns, but my favorite comic book storyline has always been Age of Apocalypse. Now, I don't know if they're going to do Age of Apocalypse here. I mean, all hail En Sabanur. But I don't know if we're getting actually Age of Apocalypse here. But it seems to make sense because he later also tweeted something that made it sound like this Apocalypse film he's talking about is a sequel or a second part to X-Men Days of Future Past. There's a lot of time travel. Put on your student hats. I'm about to give you a lesson. For those of you who don't know much about Age of Apocalypse, let me just give you a quick recap here, okay? So, Charles Xavier has got this son who's a bit of a psychopath. He's got huge multiple personality, okay? Like lots of them running around. His name is Legion. Anyway, Legion decides in his own little twisted mind that he's going to now make his dad's life better instead of worse. And the way he's going to make his life better is by going back in time and killing Charles Xavier's arch nemesis, Magneto, therefore making Charles Xavier's life wonderful and grand. The problem is, when Legion goes back in time to kill Magneto, Magneto and Xavier are still best friends, and Xavier saves Magneto's life by sacrificing his own. So now Charles Xavier is dead, and then it comes back to modern day, looking at the present as if Charles Xavier died 20 years ago or whatever. And Magneto is now actually a hero because he was so moved by the self-sacrifice of his friend Charles Xavier, and he started and formed the X-Men in honor of his friend Charles Xavier, saved his life. And in the absence of Charles Xavier, Apocalypse and Sabanur rises to power, takes over an entire continent, and is just creating mass genocide of the human race everywhere he goes. Now, Magneto is the lone hero with his ragtag group of X-Men, some of whom in our regular timeline are actually villains, is leading them and resisting them against Apocalypse. Have I lost you yet? Probably. But this is one of the greatest stories in comic book history. I loved it. I love this character. Look, Magneto is the de facto X-Men villain, no doubt. But the ultimate powerful X-Men villain, the one who rules the Four Horsemen, is Apocalypse. And I never thought we'd actually see an Apocalypse movie. And now I'm so excited. I don't know if you could tell. I'm a little bit worked up about it. I'm really, really super excited. I mean, Schnepp, what did you think about all this when you heard about it?
I was very excited, and actually it's funny, when I saw that tweet, I thought of you because I know what a sweaty you are. When I first met him, he was like, the Age of Apocalypse, let me tell you. Like, when I first met him, he was talking about this. So, yeah, I was excited. I'm also excited to hear that maybe they are doing this as a two-parter. It's not called Days of Future Past 2. They're going with Apocalypse, and they're bringing in the character Apocalypse. My only concern is he doesn't have a giant A on his belt. Yeah, let's just get rid of the A, guys. You don't need to have it. Captain America's the only guy who has an A. So come on. So
Dennis?
Yeah, I think it is going to be Age of Apocalypse because of what the storyline of Days of Future Past is and how they're going to connect that to Age of Apocalypse. But I don't think they're going to use that exact origin that you described
I'm sure
before.
They won't. Yeah,
they're going to take something from Days of Future Past that changes and then creates that alternate timeline. And yeah, Apocalypse is one of the coolest looking villains as well. He's more powerful than Magneto, and I'm interested in seeing it. I honestly, Age of Apocalypse, I really like the storyline. It's not my favorite X-Men storyline. My favorite X-Men storyline is actually the Legacy virus. With Strife and Cable and all that stuff. Apocalypse actually factors into that.
It does.
But
it does.
yeah, but I'm excited for this.
Speaking of favorite X-Men's, mine is Canadian, the Alpha Flight team up with John Byrne. Chris Claremont.
North Star and
Yeah.
Puck and
Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. Anyway, Crystal.
I'm super excited because I don't know about Apocalypse. Clearly, you just gave me my history lesson for the day. But I do love the fact that we could see Magneto and Professor X joining back together again, because I hate seeing them split up. And I loved First Class. It was the one that brought me back into the franchise and got me to want to learn more about it. And I think everything we've seen from Bryan Singer and X-Men Days of Future Past looks amazing. So the fact that we're just going to get another X-Men, I don't care who's in it at this point, we're just going to get another one. So it's really exciting.
And for those of you who don't know the comic, the comic story culminates ultimately after I waited months and months and months and reading every issue, months and months and months. It culminates in the final battle between Apocalypse and Magneto, and I won't give it away, but it's awesome. It's so great. So, yay! Okay, what's next?
Now, this next one is an unconfirmed rumor, so skip ahead if you don't want to hear a potential spoiler. Yesterday, we got to see the first trailer for Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the most talked about scene was that of a shadowy figure walking past Dr. Octopus's tentacles and the Vulture's wings in an Oscorp lab. Unconfirmed rumors are circulating that this scene is actually not from the movie itself, but a post-credits scene, and that there is a bigger reveal of another villain, and that villain is none other than fan favorite Venom. Dennis, what do you think of this rumor of Venom being in a post-credit scene for Amazing Spider-Man 2?
I think it's very plausible. I think, you know, some people had mentioned when I said, "Oh, who's the sixth part of Sinister Six?" and a lot of people were like, "Oh, don't you remember Lizard was in jail?" And I actually forgot. I thought he died. But I still think it's possible that Venom is the one that they're actually going to bring in, and the reason being is, I didn't see this, and this is kind of some Zapruder film type of stuff that people told me about. If you watch the trailer and you pause it on a certain scene, the scene where Peter and Harry are talking, and there's this giant touchscreen computer, and he's clicking through the different like folders or whatever. There's a list of folders, and some of the folders say Dr. Connor's file, Dr. Morbius file, and one of them says Venom storage. So, I think
Dripping sweat, freeze frame.
So I think it's very plausible that yes, this is in fact when they're going to reveal Venom.
You know, and let's not forget, a number of months ago, there was a picture that director Mark Webb tweeted out of this storage locker, and then a lot of people got very excited because they pulled that from like one of the older Spider-Man comic books. It looked an awful lot like the storage unit where the symbiote was, right? I didn't get a chance to comment on this yesterday. Spider-Man 2 trailer. I almost swore. Wow. I thought it was so good. I was very excited about it. But Dennis, I don't know if this is true, but I agree with you. This is plausible. This is absolutely plausible, especially if he's walking down this corridor that we see in the shot. If he's walking down this corridor and he's just passing by the octopus arms, he's passing by the vulture things. Well, what's bigger and more important than that? What's he walking to? The Venom entity? That's possible. Anyway, Crystal, what did you think?
I'm excited to see Venom, a new and improved Venom. I am of the camp that loves this new Amazing Spider-Man franchise. I love Andrew Garfield. I love what they've done. They've given us amazing action, and they give you that little bit of comedy that we all love from Avengers and the Marvel films. So I'm a huge fan of it. So for me, I'm excited to see a new and improved Venom. Also, I want to give a huge hug to whoever created these post-credit scenes because they get you so excited for the next film.
Yeah, and we didn't even touch on that. If it is indeed a post-credit, it seems to make sense. It seems to make sense, but we should be clear that there is no confirmation that that's a post-credit scene. It could be in the movie, but if it is a post-credit scene, I'm kind of disappointed because I don't want to see it yet. I want to see post-credits anyway. Schnepp, what do you think?
I think it's at the very beginning. And then they show Dr. Octopus and Vulture fighting, and then they get killed in The Amazing Spider-Man. I can't wait. I'm so excited about this trailer. Yeah, like yesterday we didn't chime in on the trailer. I think I watched it like 11 times, 25 times. I can't remember. I lost count. It's an incredible trailer. And
I know, I called you like every 45 minutes. What are you doing, Shep? I'm watching the Spider-Man trailer again.
Leave me alone. I'm in the middle of the trailer again. Yeah, I didn't freeze frame it like what you weird, super extra sweaty nerds. Yes, I noticed in the far left-hand corner of the HD part where if you zoom in and then re-res it, I don't know how you found that. So congratulations, super nerd. Whoever found that, now we're informed.
We're all going to do it.
Yeah, I was like, where's that Zapruder frame? It's a spray frame. So anyway, yeah, I'm super excited the way they're incorporating Oscorp into the origins of all the villains.
Yeah.
Because it really helps get all that origin stuff, wrap it in and make it part of the story so you can just get to the awesome part of Spidey saying cool things, you know, whipping around and having fun comments. So
it streamlines the story.
Yeah, it's such a great thing. So as far as Venom, I certainly hope so. I think it makes total sense. Right. So, and I hope that guy hopping around in the dark is Mysterio.
We'll see.
He kind of looks like James Spader from The Blacklist walking down that hallway.
He does, actually, with the hat and everything.
Yeah.
All right, folks, listen, we've reached that part of the show called Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then Chris Lee, myself, Dennis, and Schnepp are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
The Academy has released a list of 10 nominees for visual effects for the upcoming Oscars. On this short list are Gravity, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, Pacific Rim, Elysium, Iron Man 3, The Lone Ranger, Oblivion, Star Trek Into Darkness, Thor, The Dark World, and World War Z. Schnepp, buy or sell this list of VFX nominees?
I'm going to buy it. I mean, they left out a few, but I think, and some I haven't seen yet. But yeah, the effects this year were incredible. And I think all of the films that are on there, except for some of the ones I haven't seen, like Desolation of Smaug and Lone Ranger, those two I have not seen. All the other films I saw, and all the effects.
Is this a good time to remind you that I have seen The Hobbit and that
John Campea.
I've seen it too.
Yeah, and
Dennis and I saw it.
Can you hang them up by their nuts? Is that possible? Anyway, guys, I'm going to see it with all the regular people this coming week. You know, all the normals, whatever. So anyway, I didn't see anything yet, except for all those films. I think it's a great list. So I'm 100% into all the special effects that were done. I'm having not seen The Hobbit. I want Pacific Rim to win, but I haven't seen The Hobbit.
It's a good list. It's a good short list, and I'm going to sell it, however, because I do believe there is one really big glaring omission from this, and that's Man of Steel. I thought the effects in Man of Steel, especially when you consider that you do have films on this list like World War Z. I like World War Z very much, but I didn't think it deserved a visual effects nod over Man of Steel. You're looking at Elysium. I thought some of the effects in Elysium were very, very good, but I didn't think they were as good as Man of Steel. Maybe I'm a little biased because I loved Man of Steel so much, but part of the reason I loved it so much was because I thought the effects were so perfectly done. But I mean, it's a good list, and they're going to pare it down probably to 3 nominees. I would have a very difficult time paring it down. The Hobbit should be one of the 3. It really does look incredible. And you're Chris Lee, what do you think?
Well, seeing that we haven't seen The Hobbit yet, I buy all the lists but one, The Lone Ranger. Maybe it's because I didn't love the movie, but I don't think that there was anything amazing about it. And like you, I would have preferred, even though I didn't love Man of Steel, to see Man of Steel over The Lone Ranger. So I buy all but The Lone Ranger.
Dennis?
I buy it. Yeah, Man of Steel, and people are talking about Ender's Game not being included on this because Ender's Game actually had some pretty cool visual effects. But I still buy it because I think the front runner and the eventual winner is going to be Gravity. Because people talk about, it's funny when some people are saying, not us, but some people are like, I wonder how long they were in space shooting this thing, you know?
Oh my God.
So if you're getting that type of reaction, I mean, you're doing a pretty good job. And I've read some of the behind the scenes stuff, and some of the shots that you think maybe, oh, this is there and that's there, it's like a lot of it's just CG and just the actor's face.
Yeah, I think the 3 it's going to come down to is probably going to be The Hobbit, Gravity, and Pacific Rim. I think those are 3 it'll probably come down to.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, it looks
Can we
so
create
good.
a storage center for any of the people who actually think it was shot in space, and then put them in space? Like, you get to live alone on your dumb part of the world, orbiting little satellite of stupidity.
All right, what's next?
Transformers: Age of Extinction director Michael Bay has gone to his website to clarify and correct recent quotes that he recently made, calling the previous Transformers film goofy. In his statement, he says, "No, I did not apologize for any Transformers movies. I did not say I shot the last 3 movies less cool than the new 4th installment. I was talking specifically about camera style and tone of the first movie, compared to how I shot the new installment with the very big scale cinematic style. I was very specific in saying the first Transformers was shot in a generic suburbia area, not trying to be cool with any cinematic flashes. I wanted to feel like this could happen in any backyard in the United States." Chrisley, buy or sell Michael Bay's statement that he did not apologize for the previous Transformers films?
I totally buy it. One, maybe he's a huge skateboarder and shot the entire film right foot first, and that's why he said it's goofy. Maybe not. But I think everyone gets their words taken completely out of context all the time, especially in this business. They grab one word, you fly with it, and then you've said something totally different than came out of your mouth. And I liked all the Transformers movies, and I don't think he has to apologize for any of them. So I agree with what he said, and I'm glad that he kind of stood up for it.
Schnepp?
I buy it. I agree with Chrisley. I mean, it was probably taken out of context, but he's one of those guys who will run off and then have to kind of backtrack or like rearrange. Like, look, he does get taken out of context, but then even the things he says has to get kind of subtly put back in a. Look, I was saying suburbia sucks. I wasn't saying. Hang on a sec. Now I'm retracting that part. So no-win situation sometimes.
Dennis?
Yeah, I can't believe it, but I'm going to have to buy it as well. I'm buying a Michael Bay statement. I didn't care for the last 2 Transformers movies, but that being said, a lot of people liked them, and he really doesn't need to apologize for the movie. Even though I didn't care for him, if he likes them and he's proud of them, he shouldn't. Like even a movie that I despise, like The Last Airbender, M. Night Shyamalan, I don't think he needs to apologize for it. I don't like it. I hate it. But he doesn't need to apologize for it.
I love that you said despise. That's really strong hatred. Yeah.
There's 2 reasons why I'm going to have to agree with all of you and buy this. Number 1, Michael Bay is not the type of dude who's going to apologize for anything, anytime, to anyone. Aside from that, when your 3 movies each make about $75 bajillion and you're swimming ass naked in your bathtub filled with gold coins, then you don't feel the need to apologize, nor should you feel the need to apologize for anything. Look, I'm not a fan of the last 2 Transformers movies either. I love the first one, didn't like the second 2. But as far as needing to apologize for them, no, he doesn't need to apologize to anybody. All right, what's next?
Looks like Jerry Bruckheimer has found a new home. It's been announced that the successful producer of such hits like the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Beverly Hills Cop, Top Gun, Armageddon, and many others has landed a 3-year first-look deal with Paramount. Having spent the last 15 years at Disney, his new deal with Paramount starts in April 2014. John, buy or sell Jerry Bruckheimer landing at Paramount?
Yeah, I'm going to buy this. It's a good fit. It's a good fit. And we talked about when Bruckheimer left Disney, we said, this is one of those situations where it was just time. It's nobody's fault. I mean, he's made that company a lot of money. He's had a couple of stinkers in a row, but nobody by any means is suggesting this guy doesn't know how to make blockbusters anymore. It was a good time for a split, so they split. Now he's landed on his feet and with a new shingle over his door. Totally cool. It's a good fit. I like it. Chrisley?
I'm a little upset that Flashdance and National Treasure weren't on his list of amazing movies that he's made, but I buy it as well. He's been at Paramount before. He'll go back to Paramount. I think it's a great fit, and I think that you do get stuck in a place for a long time, and creativity sometimes can get swallowed, and so hopefully this will open new doors of creativity for him to make some great movies again.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I mean, he's made a lot of great movies, and that's what happens when you're in the biz for so long. You get hits, you get misses, you get hits. So, and you move around. So he's moving to a new spot. We'll see what he makes.
Dennis?
Yeah, I buy it for the same reasons. Change of scenery. He needs something new. I mean, he had, aside from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, which is still going to remain with Disney, he had a few duds. He had Sorcerer's Apprentice, Prince of Persia, and now Lone Ranger. And so I think it was time for him to move on and going back to Paramount, where he did Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop. Maybe he'll get a renewed, look on things. Maybe he'll do some new movies.
Agreed. All right, what's next?
Of all the Lance Armstrong movies being developed, it looks like one of them is starting to shape up nicely. 2-time Oscar winner Dustin Hoffman has joined Stephen Frear's Lance Armstrong biopic. The two previously have worked together on the movie The Hero. He will be joining a cast that includes Ben Foster, Lee Pace, and Chris O'Dowd. Dennis, buy or sell Dustin Hoffman joining Frear's Lance Armstrong movie?
I definitely buy this one. I mean, it's Dustin Hoffman. He's a 2-time Oscar winner. He won for Kramer versus Kramer and Rain Man. And you have Stephen Frears, who I didn't see their collaboration Hero, but he's done movies that I've really liked, like High Fidelity and The Queen. So I'm not big on all these Lance Armstrong biopics, so maybe this is the one that I will watch out of all of them.
I'm going to, and I think it was The Accidental Hero, I think was the name of it, but I'm going to sell this, and not because of Dustin Hoffman, not because of Ben Foster, who I think Ben Foster right now might be in the top 3 most underrated pure acting talents in Hollywood. This dude's amazing. I don't care about a biopic about Lance Armstrong. I really don't. I'm so sick and tired of the whole Lance Armstrong thing. Maybe in 5 years I might be interested in visiting something like this. Right. But right now, it doesn't matter who you add to it. If you're going to add anybody, Dustin Hoffman's a great one, but even that name isn't enough to make me care whatsoever about this project. So for me, it's a sell. Chris Lee?
I buy it not because of Dustin Hoffman, but because of the entire cast. First of all, like Dennis said, you add Dustin Hoffman to anything and it just makes it better.
Yeah.
This is, like you said, the one Armstrong biopic that I will now go see. And I actually agree with you on Ben Foster, and we talked about this yesterday. Yeah. He is such an amazing actor, and he doesn't get the credit that's deserved. And so I'm excited to see him on so many more projects.
You know, Ben Foster, a lot of people forget, he was in 2:10 to Yuma with 2 of the best actors working today, Christian Bale and Russell Crowe, and he upstaged both of them. I mean, that's how good Ben Foster is. Anyway, Schnepp.
Yeah, and Ben Foster is going to blow up in Warcraft.
Yeah.
So he's, you know, he's been waiting, and then, you know, so everyone's going to be like, "Who's this Ben Foster guy?" We'll be like, "We've been telling you for years." So, Dustin Hoffman, I'm going to sell it. Just mainly because of that picture. It looks like he's in Blade Runner. Like underlit. It's like, where's Rutger Hauer? No, I mean, I'm just selling it because I agree with you. I'm tired of all the Lance Armstrong stories. I'm not going to see any of the 7 that are coming out. So I'm not going to go see any of them. So.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show called Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Every day we take a couple of questions from the mailbag. Ashley's got a few of them pulled out, so Ashley, what do we got?
John from the UK writes, "What's up, AMC Movie Talkers? My question is in regard to one of geekdom's most beloved saints, Joss Whedon. In an episode a while back when comparing Joss to Chris Nolan, that prior to the Avengers, he had only 1 film directing credit in the brilliant but financial bomb in Serenity. My question is, how or why do you think Joss got the job to direct the Avengers? He undeniably did an amazing job, but what made Marvel/Disney and Kevin Feige put their fate in a man who had no real film success, and biggest success were cult television shows? I know he's a massive fan of comics, but I don't think Marvel would hire a guy based on that alone. Campia, bring on the filthy, and Schnepp, if you're in, bring on the flavor."
Well, Schnepp is in, and I want him adding none of his flavor to anything I've got. I don't know what the innuendo there was, but here's the thing. It's a great question, because when Joss Whedon, who we're all fans of,
yes.
When Whedon's name first came up for Avengers, I wasn't super excited about it. I kind of thought at the time that Favreau or dude who directed Thor, Kenneth Branagh, should have directed it. But I was okay with Whedon's name, but I wasn't super excited. But here's where it makes sense. It's not about whether he made a hit film. It's about whether he made a great film. He made Serenity, and Serenity is a great sci-fi film. I put it in my top 10 sci-fi films of the past decade. I really do. I think it's that good. I think he did a marvelous job with it. Now, when you get a property like Avengers, Disney is sitting back and Kevin Feige are sitting back, and they say to themselves, okay, we know we're going to get a big audience to this movie regardless. The question now is, how big of an audience can we get? So we don't need to worry about getting the initial big audience in. Now, if you were, let's say Marvel was starting off by making a movie about, I don't know, Tupi the Wonder Gnome, okay? Tupi the Wonder Gnome is they're doing a movie on him. Nobody in the public's heard of it, whatever. Maybe you want a director with big financial success, whatever, who knows how to get that initial influx of big audiences in there. Maybe then, and maybe you don't go with Joss Whedon. But the Avengers is a different story. The Avengers was going to get a big audience no matter what. So what do? let's go get a guy who can now make a great movie to get all those people to come back again and again and generate big word of mouth and get those people in. Whedon is an excellent storyteller. He's proven that on television. He proved it with Serenity. He's got a really good following. He's got comic book writing background. So it was just a great fit. It was a perfect storm of circumstances that allowed Whedon to come in there and take the Avengers to the next level. And so, no, Disney wasn't thinking about what director made the biggest hits, because that's not necessarily the best director, a.k.a. Michael Bay, that we just talked about makes big, huge hits, but he would have been terrible to direct the Avengers. So I think that's why it worked out the way it was. They knew they were going to get big numbers. Now they just want to make the best movie they could to, exponentially grow those numbers. Schnepp?
And also, Joss Whedon is a team player, as in he
very much
is great with teams. Serenity, a group of people all interacting, whole bunch of different strong characters. Buffy, Angel, all of the things that he's done. Even the movies that he's written, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 4, a group of people all is set into a situation. So he was the ideal choice to write the Avengers. Right off the bat, when I heard he was writing and directing, I was super happy because I knew he could handle all these different characters who all had their individual movies and weave them together into an amazing film. So, I mean, the film itself, he did a great job directing it as well, but I'm really happy with the way he wrote all of the characters and took. And you can tell he loves those characters as well. He intimately knows Marvel and DC characters, and it shows in the film. So,
Dennis?
Yeah, there's several things. Kevin Feige was kind of asked this question before, and he mentioned that him and Joss actually have known each other for many years.
That's true, yeah.
And that they had always wanted to work together. Probably didn't guess that it was going to be something this big as their first collaboration. But also he mentioned that what Marvel does, Marvel takes calculated risks. They take on directors or actors that are kind of like on the cusp, or like a Robert Downey Jr. He wasn't big at that time, and they decided to take a chance. Jon Favreau, if people don't remember, before Iron Man, he was a good director. He'd done Elf and a few other things, but he wasn't a big name until
not
after
as a director.
Iron Man.
No, yeah.
So they like taking those risks, and when you look at Joss Whedon, it's not that big of a risk because he has talent.
Yeah.
He has talent. If you've watched any of like Buffy, Serenity, Angel, some of the best episodes are written by him and directed by him.
And announcing his name excited the core of
Yes.
fans, and that was a pretty big coup too. Chris Lee?
One of the things I liked, and I know you've mentioned it before, is you and I got to go to a Q&A where Joss spoke. And I've met
That was
Kevin
great.
Feige now and have talked to him. And the one thing that I see about the two of them is they're so passionate about what they do and truly love this. And I agree with the Joss Whedon's a team player, because during that Q&A, he told us about the first script and that it was very waspy. And obviously we saw the Avengers and there was no wasp.
No wasp.
So he's able to not only have this amazing vision and passion for what he does, but he's also the ability to change for what's needed for the film.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Jamie S. writes, "Hey guys, love the show. I got a chance to meet Dennis and Aaron at the Hobbit premiere in Hollywood. Love you guys."
Starstruck.
Anyways, my question is about Steven Spielberg. Do you ever think he's capable of making another Best Picture Oscar winner? His only film that won was Schindler's List. Although I do think Saving Private Ryan is his best work ever and is the last one that deserved to win the Best Picture category. But do you think he can knock down one or maybe two Oscar wins before he's done making films? Thanks, guys, and keep up the filthy.
Oh, he's absolutely. I mean, every film he makes gets nominated for Best Picture, whether it's Munich or War Horse or Lincoln or whatever he makes gets nominated for Best Picture. But then it's a crapshoot. Then it's a 1 in 9 or a 1 in 7 or a 1 in 10 shot, and you just don't know. Does he have it in him? He's got 3 or 4 more Best Pictures in him. Whether it'll actually happen, like we've talked before on this show, the Oscar is the single most difficult award to win, because there's so many things that gets played into it. It's the single most difficult. So he's absolutely capable of it, but you just never know. It may not happen, but absolutely he's capable of it. Chris Lee?
I mean, and you gave the list, and I have the same thing written down. Lincoln, Munich, War Horse, War of the Worlds, they all have had Oscar nominations. They may not have been the Best Picture win, but they've all had nominations. And when you're putting out hundreds of films a year, it's going to happen. If you get nominated, I think that's just, it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe
Spielberg-
not taking that trophy, but it's a good feeling.
Spielberg squats and craps out excellence. That's what he does. Anyway, Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has it in him. I mean, he's super talented, and we've known this for a long time. He's an icon. And Saving Private Ryan, while it didn't win Best Picture, he still won the Oscar for Best Director.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely something that that goes into his favor. The one thing about Spielberg movies that I think, like Saving Private Ryan, needed was just chop off that first 5 minutes. in the last 5 minutes. I didn't need those bookends, and he does those bookends in several.
He does love those bookends.
Like Lincoln has it for no reason.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe that turns off maybe some of the voters. I don't know.
Yeah. Biggest, most hated bookend, AI.
Yeah.
Should have ended with a kid, like
Yeah,
the
in the water.
robot in the water, which is like, that's what the robot wanted. Instead, it has to, here, let's bridge it with a weird, fluffy family filled with light, 20-minute ending with aliens floating around. I don't know. Does he have another Oscar in him? I'm certainly sure that he's got multiple nominations coming up in the next 5-10 years. And I'm sure possibly another Oscar. Why not? He's one of the most talented producer, directors, writers we've ever had in cinema. So, you know, to think that he's not going to get another chance, I would never bet against Spielberg.
No.
You know, it's like,
And one of the few, we talk about that Mount Rushmore of directors and who you would put up there, and Spielberg's clearly there. And Spielberg might be the only one on that list of guys that we constantly refer to who can do it all. He can do sci-fi, action, drama, period piece, comedy, you name it. He's done it, and he's been nominated for it. And very, very, very few guys in the history of this medium have been able to do it with the level of excellence that he has. All right, folks, well, that's it. We've run out of time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank, first of all, sitting to my immediate left, one of the hosts here at AMC Movie Talk, Miss Chris Lee Kennedy. Chris Lee, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Chris Lee and follow my Tumblr, The Movie Chick.
And to my right, the production manager of AMC Movie News, Mr. Dennis Zen, who did an excellent job hosting the show yesterday, by the way. Dennis, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and on YouTube ThinkHero Pro.
And beside him, writer-director, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
you can find me at Instagram and at Twitter at John Schnepp. And kick into the Unicron Kickstarter, guys. Come on, let's make it happen.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Ashley Mova.
And you can find me on all the various social media networks just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. Listen, don't forget, a lot of great movies playing in AMC theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, just look down in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia, and until Monday, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.